What's up? Stephen Howell here, back in another video, part 3. Time. There's never enough time. So if you struggle with time management, procrastination, motivation, today's video is for you. The concepts behind today's video are very, very important. And when I finally got serious about these concepts in my business, it was just about 7 weeks later where I did my first $12,000 deal, deal. And then after that, 4 weeks later, I did my first $25,000 real estate investing deal. So over the course of 11 weeks, over the course of just under 90 days, I was able to bring in $37,000 in my real estate business. Guys, I want you to understand the importance of the concepts behind what I'm talking about. So if you're working a full-time job, 40, 50 hours a week like I was when I was getting started in my real estate investing business, if you have kids, if you're married, not married, if you're, health and fitness and working out's important to you, or maybe you're busy sharing some of your time with a local church or organization, and you are trying a bunch of different things in your real estate business, if you are, going all over the place and time, you just feel like, oh my goodness, I could do this if I had more time. I really want you to pay attention to this video because you are not alone. A lot of people are struggling with this. And again, when I made these changes, within about 90 days, I was able to bring in $37,000 into my business. So if that is exciting to you and you want to learn, again, kind of the strategies and the concepts behind what caused me to do that, I want to share that with you in this video, and I know that it can help you. So make sure you shut down social media, eliminate any and all distractions, have something to write with because I have a few tools, books, and recommendations. And then I'm just going to share with you for about the next 20 or 30 minutes or so how to implement this for yourself. So I hope you enjoy, and let's get started. Do you struggle with running out of time to run your real estate investing business, to actually getting things done? Do you struggle with procrastination and knowing what to do and having the best intentions to do it, but for some reason it just escapes you? Well, my friend, this video is definitely going to be for you. It is video number 3 of a 4-part training series that I'm doing. And this was birthed out of surveying all of my subscribers of the areas that they most struggle with in their business. And so this is just a free training series as a way of giving back to kind of helping you get some handles on these things, with the intention of getting really focused, making a very simple change in your business, and getting dramatically different results. So if you struggle with any of these areas that you see on your screen here, time management, getting distracted, procrastinating, or sometimes just having that lack of motivation, first and foremost, I want you to know that you are not alone. These things are many of us struggle with as entrepreneurs, as real estate investors. And I want to show you how to help, just a couple of tips here today to get a handle on some of these things, because these are the things that are a lot of times robbing us of the results, robbing us of, what we're trying to do in our businesses. And if we don't get a handle on these things, it can keep us stuck for a long time. So again, Stephen Howell here with Productive Wisdom. I'm very glad to have you. If you're watching this video on YouTube, make sure you subscribe because I have a lot more videos coming. And again, this is a 4-part training series that I'm doing. So let's dive in. So time management, distraction, procrastination, motivation. I mean, these are all areas that, when I was looking through the survey results that I sent out, the survey responses that came in rather, these are some of the things that were just, Stephen, I work a full-time job, so I have the best intentions to get my real estate business going. But then when I come home, I have the kids, I have other things going on, and before I know it, time gets away from me. Or, I get started on a couple of things, Stephen, and all of a sudden I'm distracted, or I know I need to start making these phone calls or sending out the certain pieces of mail or doing certain advertising in my business, but I've kind of been putting it off for a while. I bought another training course. I went to another seminar, and there's all sorts of things going on. There's the holidays. So these are things that we all struggle with, but if we don't get a handle on these things, it can lead to lack of fulfillment, lack of results, and it's just not a good combination. It's not doing our best. It's not doing the best we can do for our families. And so I want to help you through that today. So this was actually going to be part number 4 of the 4-part series, but I bumped it up to part number 3 because it was just such a pressing need, and so many responses are coming back that, this is something that, we struggle with, right? So let's dive in to talk just a little bit more about this. There's a lot of directions we can go here, but I just want to share with you a concept that I'm very big on, and that is simply he who chases 2 rabbits catches none. So this is so true in this social media and information age. There are so many things competing for our attention. There's so many things competing for our attention, and if we don't do a really, really good job of kind of clearing out the clutter and focusing in on a few key things, then we get lost, right? There's just too much competing for our attention. So remember that quote. That is a quote that served me for a long, long time. So how does this pertain to your real estate business? Okay, how can we put this in terms of like, okay, Stephen, that sounds great, but how can I apply this to my real estate business? So what I would recommend doing is basically focusing in on 1 to 3 things in your real estate business and going very, very deep rather than wide. So let's take a look at this. So it's kind of like this. If you're getting in real estate and you're trying to do something important, you're trying to focus on a certain marketing strategy, and then all of a sudden you're doing that maybe even for a couple of weeks, and then it's like you're the dog from Up. You see a squirrel and it's like, oh, there's that other thing I heard on a podcast, or there's that other marketing strategy that kind of sounds good. So I know for me personally, I would try a couple strategies for 2, 3, 4 weeks. And I would actually go out there and mix it up and make some things happen and really start taking action. But when I didn't get the results right away, I would flip-flop to something else. I would also focus on, okay, maybe I need to build my buyers list, or maybe I need to work on generating motivated seller leads. So what I would do is I'd focus a couple weeks on one thing and then flip to the other. And what I got tired of doing is, when I was talking with buyers, I was constantly telling them about the great deals that I was going to have. I'm going to have the best deals. I'm doing a lot of marketing. I'm doing this and this and this. Has that ever happened to you? Well, it's my recommendation in this current economy, in this market, it's so much more of a focus and an attention point to put your focus on finding leads for motivated sellers. Because then when you actually come to the buyers, rather than telling them about all the amazing things you're going to have, you actually have a deal. And if you do the right marketing and you get very, very focused and you get a deal that has a lot of equity and there's still enough meat on the bone, which is a great tip, by the way, we always want to serve up deals to our end buyers that have a lot of meat on the bone, right? We want to be conservative in our number. We don't want to fluff up the ARV and whittle away the repairs. We want to be very conservative, and that way when we serve a deal up to our end buyers, they get excited because we were true with our numbers and there's enough meat on the bone. So just to help you get a handle on your time, one thing that you can do is say, you know what, I'm going to get laser focused. There's a million things I can do, but I know if I try to catch all these rabbits, I'm going to end up catching none. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to focus on half of my business. I'm going to focus nothing but generating motivated seller leads, because if I don't have a deal in the first place, then there's nothing I can serve up to my buyers. So that's a really important concept, guys. So when I finally got this and began to focus on mastering one thing at a time, that's when things started to change for me. So if you'll reference my previous video on what to do to get better leads in your business, which is part 2 of this 4-part series, I go really deep in talking about, my number 1 lead source. And, there's a video in there when you subscribe to my blog, Productive Wisdom. I have a free 1.5-hour training where I share with you the #1 lead source in my business. So when I stopped trying all the dozens of marketing, things that I could do, and I went really, really deep and decided to master one thing at a time to generate leads in my business. And of course, I didn't go out of my way to not talk with buyers if I was, at an investor meeting or ran into somebody who buys property or who is a rehabber or a landlord. Sure, you can, network with them and get their information. But, primarily the major focus of my business was, just on generating motivated seller leads and deciding 1 or 2 things that I'm going to do. And I really hit home on that in video number 2. So definitely go back and reference that, because I give you some other, strategies and some things that you can do in your business. So this thing alone really helps the time management. And I kind of give you a sample of what a week would look like if you focus on my #1 lead source in my business, which is probates. On how you can just work 1 or 2 hours a day. And each day you sit down with a couple of tasks that you're going to do that day. And a lot of times it's not, a research task. It's not studying. It's actually taking action, right? It's doing an income producing activity. It's making a phone call, sending a letter, sending an email. And, when we do that, that alone, because we're only focusing on half the business right now, it's a matter of focus. It's a matter of deciding and kind of putting our butt on the line a little bit of which part of our business we're going to focus on what type of marketing that we're going to master. It takes a little bit of this word that we don't really like to hear, but it's called personal responsibility. It's taking that responsibility to say, you know what, this is what I'm running with. This is what I'm going to do for the next 6 months. I'm going to master these couple of things in my business, and this is all I'm going to do. This is what I'm going to get very, very good at. But when you do that and you make that commitment, it becomes very, very powerful. So I want to invite you to do that here today. So motivation, if you're struggling with motivation, there's no one-size-fits-all answer here, but I want to share with you kind of an interaction that I had with my mentor. He is one of the wisest people I know, insanely successful, and one time we were emailing back and forth when we just started working together, and he was doing this to motivate me. I didn't really realize it at the time. So I just want to share this with you because maybe this will motivate you. So he was asking me, Steven, do you think you're serious? And if you do think you're serious and you're doing some big things, who are you comparing yourself to? Okay? What do you value the most in your life? Why are you alive in the first place? And what drives you? Okay? Now, he knows that I'm going to think into those questions, right? He knows that I'm going to think like, well, maybe I'm not comparing myself to the right people. Am I playing on his level, or am I just playing in a small pond over here? And sure, I might think I'm doing some great things or whatever, but am I serious? Am I just playing games? Am I just playing around? So I want to pose these very same questions to you. If you're lacking that motivation, do you think that you're serious? Do you think you're doing your very best? And if so, who are you comparing yourself to? And is that person that you're comparing yourself, is that really where you want to be? And my friend, what do you value the most in your life? Why are you alive? Why are you here on earth? To the best of your ability right now, why are you here? And what drives you? Or are you just floating along right now? These are some deep questions if we're honest with ourselves. And my friend, if you really want to get to the bottom of motivation, I want you to really think through these questions and ask them to yourself over and over and over again, right? I want you to keep seeking, and you will find that answer. It might not come to you right away, but really just keep asking yourself these questions every single day. Another place that I believe motivation comes from is that when we know deep down we need to make a change in our life, and sometimes when things get so painful that we're just sick and tired of that pain, finally something snaps in us in a healthy way, and we just say enough is enough. We gotta make this happen. I don't care what happens, I'm going to do this. And so that's kind of hard to artificially create, right? So maybe for you, my friend, if the motivation is lacking, I want you to think about like, well, what if I continue down, this path? How bad is it going to have to get until I finally have that breaking point where I start making a change in my life? And my friend, honestly, that's what it might take. It might take it getting that bad, and then you finally snap and have your breaking point, and you start doing some of the things that you should be doing all along. So my friend, that's what I'm going to say about motivation. It's important to be a seeker, to have that willing, seeking heart, to have that inner drive and to ask for it, to think about it, to pray for it, to really contemplate this. Because the longer you try to sweep it under the rug and continue just going through the motions, the more pain you'll experience along the way. So that's what I'm going to say about motivation, because I did want to touch on that. Back to the video. Now, one of the reasons that honestly, if we're really honest of why we don't like to do this, why we might procrastinate, why, we might struggle with the, if you've heard of, paralysis by analysis, we're kind of stuck in study mode. It's because of our inability to make a decision, because what if something goes wrong? What if we look foolish? What if we look silly? What if we mess up? What if things go wrong, right? And that fear of the unknown is a very, very strong fear that keeps so many of us stuck for way too long. But I just want to help you today to kind of work through that, because that is not going to get you results. That's not going to help you achieve what you're trying to achieve and do the things for your family and yourself that you're trying to do. I want to invite you here today to make a decision, because with procrastination and motivation, managing our time, when we don't make a decision, when we decide to just kind of linger and wait until the conditions get perfect, which they never do, that's making a decision. Procrastinating in and of itself is a decision. So if you have not seen it, I want you to go back and watch video number 2 on how I go about getting better leads in my business. And then you can definitely get that free goodie, that free gift of mine, which is the #1 lead source of my business. You can start there, and then I give you some other ideas. And my recommendation is that you commit to mastering one thing at a time, to going deep and not wide, because you're much better off doing 1 to 3 things extremely well. And I want you to start making little small decisions in your business, because this is going to help you. Remember, procrastinating, waiting till the conditions are right, all of that is a decision in itself. So I want you to start making new decisions, decisions that are going to progress you forward. So for example, what are the 3 things that you're going to do in your business for marketing? When are you going to do them? What day of the week are you going to execute? Not study about them, but if it's probates, when are you going to go down to the courthouse and get the leads? When are you going to put the letters in the mail? When are you going to email the attorneys or the executors? When are you going to call them? If you're calling for rent leads or putting out YouTube videos or doing Craigslist ads, when are you going to sit down and write those ads? How much time is that going to take you? When are you going to post the ads and repost them? If you're going to put an ad in your local newspaper about your We Buy Houses business, when are you going to call to compare rates and to find out, when it's going to get published, and, all of those things, and how many characters you have and the different options? When are you going to do that in your business? I want you to decide, and again, reference video number 2 for more about what you can do for marketing, right? But I want you to start making decisions about when you're going to do things and exactly what you're going to do. And the key thing when it comes down to time management, when it comes down to what we're talking about today, is really focusing on just a couple of things. Less is more. It's not that you need to be doing more. A lot of times it's that you need to be doing less. It's that we have to make a decision to say no to things. A mentor of mine gave me a great quote. It's actually from Warren Buffett, and it says, "The difference between successful people and very successful people is very successful people say no to almost everything." So a lot of times it's not that we need to say yes. It's not that we need to do more. It's that we need to do less. We need to make a decision to say, no, I'm not going to do that. That's going to get me distracted. That's going to have me running in circles. I'm going to focus on these 3 things in my business, and that's it until I start getting results. You know, ideas are wonderful, and I'm a big idea and strategy person, but sometimes we can get caught up thinking and thinking and thinking, and basically ideas, when it comes down to it, are meaningless unless they're acted upon. So ideas really don't serve us. You know, so many times people are like, well, I had the idea for Uber or Airbnb, or, you know, I had the idea to do this or that. You know, that's great. But, you know, there was somebody else who executed on that idea much faster, and now those companies are worth billions of dollars. So it's fantastic, you know, if we're going around bragging like, oh, I had that idea, I've heard about that before, you know, that's cool. But actually doing it is a whole different ball game. Execution is what, you know, is what brings us there and gets the results and allows us to live that lifestyle and do the things that we're trying to do. And I'm just as guilty of that as anyone watching this video. So I don't say this from a place of perfection, but these are just some things that, you know, I've realized, you know, a lot of times through pain, through doing it the wrong way a long time and realizing, you know what, this is not getting me anywhere. I have to do something different. I bought all the courses. I went to the seminars. I tried, you know, 15 different strategies and flip-flopped every couple of weeks. So what I'm telling you here is after, you know, my failure and my pain, these are some shifts that I had in my business. If you want to learn a little bit more about that, I recorded a video documentary on my blog, productivewisdom.com. On the About section, I share with you a little story about my wife and I of like how the light bulb finally went off and what I started to do to start marketing and start tracking what I was doing. And I decided that, hey, I was already working 50 hours a week in a full-time job. I only had a couple hours each night, and I needed to only focus on income producing activities, and I needed to track everything I was doing. And I started setting little goals for myself every single day, every single week, how many people I had talked to, how many contracts I was sending out, how many offers, how many appointments, you know, all of these different things. And, you know, shortly after that, that's when things started to change for me. So I just want to invite you, my friend, here today to start making some small decisions in your business, to start kind of putting your butt on the line a little bit, because that is it's a little scary, and I totally get it, but it's going to get you to where you need to be, to where you want to go, so much faster than just kind of sitting back and wondering, well, what if I do this? And I need to learn this a little bit more. You already know enough. You're going to learn so much more by just going out there and doing it. And you're going to get so much, if you're afraid of competition, like you're going to get so much further ahead of your competition because you had the guts to execute. And then when you execute and it doesn't go the way you planned, which just, you know, suffice to say that that will happen more often than not, you're going to learn. And that's how you gain wisdom and knowledge and understanding is by learning and then doing, learning, doing. Too many times we get stuck in the learning, and then we don't do the doing part of it, right? So when it comes down to time management, distraction, procrastination, just understand that it is a matter of your focus. So let's touch on this for just a quick moment here, and then I have a couple of cool tools that I want to show you, recommendations. So a quote here by entrepreneur Eben Pagan. He's one of the most famous entrepreneurs, trainers in the world, business minds. The last I heard him quote, within the last few years, he was doing around $29 million in sales per year. And this guy is very, very wise when it comes to time management, focus, business. And he's quoted for saying, distractions and interruptions are two of our chief competitors today in reaching success. And you must learn how to effectively minimize these two forces in order to win. You know, if we don't learn how to control the information that's coming into our minds, we quite literally are just going to be overwhelmed. So, you know, realizing what distracts us, what pulls us away from, you know, getting things done is a big piece of this. So I just want to share with you a quick tool that I learned about not too long ago. And it's an extension in Google Chrome here called Win the Day. And it allows you to set up, you know, goals where every time you open a new browser, your goal is staring at you in the face. And then there's a nice little quote up here every day. And then when you go over to focus mode, let's say you want to sit down and be laser focused for 2 hours or for 90 minutes because you're focused on a certain task in your business. And I think that's a very healthy thing, you know, focusing in on something for around 90 minutes or 2 hours rather than trying to do it all day. Sit down and work in sprints and then give yourself a little bit of a break. So if you go to this this Google Chrome extension, Win the Day, you can set it to where it's going to block your social media or block other websites that you don't want it to go to, and you can set it for 60 minutes, 90 minutes, 120 minutes, however long, and it will block out those websites for you so you're not going on social media or doing other things to get distracted. All right, so there's also a habit tracking tool in here as well. So you can set up, I want to track 3 times a week. My goal is to go to the gym. Okay, so then you can start tracking how many times did you actually go to the gym that week, right? Say you want to set a goal where 6 days a week, you're going to read for 1 hour. You can put read for 1 hour. And you can start tracking how many times you read for an hour, or maybe it's drinking a certain amount of water or having, a green smoothie or whatever that is, for your day. So this is just a little free extension that I use that I think is really, really helpful to keep you on track. And another thing, it's by the same company. This company I absolutely love. They're called bestself.co. They actually have paired up with Shark Tank, the Shark Damon John. And basically, this is the planner that I use in my business. It's the best day planner I've ever come across. At the time of this recording, it's Black Friday, so they're having a sale and stuff right now. But I just wanted to show you a tool that kind of goes along with this video. I use this Best Self Journal. It's the best day planner that I've ever come across. And it allows you to focus for that day on 3 things and then to reflect what you're grateful for, some things that you learned. And the way that this planner is set up is you have one central goal to focus on for the next 90 days. One thing in your life or your business that you're going to do, and then it helps give you some benchmarks and helps keep you aligned to accomplish that goal within 90 days. So I'll put the link below this video and you can go check them out. They also have some other cool stuff here. One of the things that I just actually ordered are these weekly action pads. So I can prioritize which tasks I'm doing in my business. Another big thing is putting in parentheses like how long that task is going to take you, and then making sure that you don't have more than 6 hours of tasks in a day if you're doing it full-time. If you're doing it part-time, more than 2 or 3 hours in a day. And really being conservative with that time of like, okay, this task is going to take me 30 minutes to actually sit down and do. And so that way you can kind of hold yourself accountable. Like, you know what, I got 30 minutes, I'm sitting down, I'm busting out this task, I'm going to make it happen. So I'm really excited. These just came in the mail for me, and I'm going to use these weekly action pads. So anyways, I just wanted to share that tool with you. I also want to give you 2 book recommendations. So let's see here. The first book recommendation is going to be by Dan Kennedy, and it's called No BS Time Management for Entrepreneurs, the 2nd edition. And the subtitle is The Ultimate No Holds Bar, Kick Butt, Take No Prisoners Guide to Time Productivity and Sanity. It's a really, really good book for entrepreneurs because, when you're building a business, a lot of times, the way we manage our time is much different than if we were managing our time at a job or other things. And there's different things we can do to leverage our time really, really well. So I won't spoil that book, but just go check it out. Dan Kennedy, No BS Time Management for Entrepreneurs, the 2nd edition. The next thing is not a time management book, but if you follow the principles in this book, it will help you tremendously in your business. And there is the very first chapter is on time management, and that is The Ultimate Sales Machine by Chet Holmes. Definitely go check out those 2 books. I hope you enjoyed this video. Time. There's never enough time. My friend, the key thing that I want you to walk away with today is just I want you to understand that if you get very, very focused for the next 30, 60, 90 days, you can start getting results in your business if you focus just on marketing for motivated seller leads right now in your business, because you can only focus on so many things, and you commit to mastering 1 or 2 or at the very most 3 things, and that's all you're going to focus on. And you commit to making small decisions in your business and not being afraid of what if, right? If you start making small decisions to put your butt on the line a little bit of, you know what, I'm going to become the best in my area at X, Y, or Z. I'm going to do it faithfully and consistently. If you can develop that mindset and just say, you know what, I'm going to get focused. I'm going to use a planner like this, 90-day planner here. For the next 90 days, I'm going to do my first deal. This is what's going to happen, and these are the things that I'm going to do. And then you're just focusing an hour or 2 each day on your business, on doing something productive, proactive. You're going to see this new just surge of energy and productivity that's infused into your business. So I just want to encourage you with that, my friend. I hope you enjoyed this video. We're going to come back for video number 4, and it's going to be about marketing the deals you have under contract and actually getting to the closing table. So I hope you enjoyed this video. If you enjoyed this video, if you're checking it out on YouTube, definitely tap the like button. Make sure to subscribe. I have a lot more videos coming. I hope you have an amazing day, and I'll see you soon.